The trade war is back! Liberation is back! Donald Trump says, we have just been informed by Canada, a very difficult country to trade with. Mind you, Donald Trump set up the USMCA to replace NAFTA with Canada. Okay. Including the fact that they charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products. Okay, this is an old fallacy. No farmer has ever paid the 400% tariffs. These are simply quotas so that the United States doesn't dump product on Canada. This is very old news. Oh, Thoughtful Balance just donated some dollahallas to me and says, I wish you and your family a good life. Your humor and objectivity might give humanity a chance. We always have to call out irrationality. Call out all bullshit. Like and subscribe. That's a nice comment. That's a nice comment. That's very nice. All right, so has just announced that they're putting a digital services tax on American technology companies. So this would be presumably like on Apple, Microsoft Word, Windows, Salesforce, Palantir, basically a tax on all, well, digital services. I just think it's nice to think about brand names when you hear that sort of phrase, and then it's a little bit more useful to understand. All right. Which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union. That's true. They have done the same thing, yes. But the EU's been recently talking about trying to walk back the digital services tax as a way to negotiate with the United States. But I think the problem is this is sort of like waking up markets again to the idea that trade negotiations aren't actually going as well as we're being told. This deal we signed in China is just a framework of getting off the most extreme hostilities, but we're still at ridiculously high tariff levels, 55% on China, which is starting to slow port traffic pretty substantially in the West Coast, with inventories rising, whereas on the East Coast you don't have as much of a problem because you get less of that Chinese trade coming in. But anyway, they're obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing. It's currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions of trade with Canada, effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that will be paid to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Somewhat unfortunate because the day was kind of going good. You know, the market was doing very well. The Qs were up about 50 basis points. You had Nike was running quite remarkably, which we had been pitching in the Alpha report this morning, still up 15%. Make sure you join that. Use coupon code JPOW on meetkevin.com. And Circle has been falling since it lost the 210 level, which isn't a surprise, which we also watched very. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, this morning in the Alpha, we called out this line that this is where it was going to be heading to. And look at that. It literally just went there. Now, of course, this little extra boost was taken there because of this announcement from Trump. But what we need to see now is some reaction from suits. This is unfortunate because it does sadly take a decent market environment right now where we're just hitting these all-time highs. And we're basically going back to now concerns about trade. Donald Trump has been pitching the idea that we're going to be getting an India trade deal soon. But take a listen to this. The, trade euphoria in stocks masks skepticism in other assets. In otherwise, bonds and specifically bonds actually, and maybe even to some extent Bitcoin, which has gotten stuck in the mud a little bit, are a little uncertain about what's going to happen with trade deals, whereas the stock market has basically been straight up. You've got the doomers are saying, okay, they're just quoting, so we don't have an opinion yet from them. Let's take a look at what some other reactions are here. But this is obviously just now breaking news from the Trump administration. And unfortunately, the fact that we don't have a deal with a single deficit nation yet is bad because there's no blueprint. You know, if you had a really good deal that ended up coming up with Canada, maybe the other countries would be more inclined to negotiate. But now that Donald Trump is like, you know, all right, throw everything up in the air and just quit and we'll assign you a tariff rate, a lot of countries will probably just wait and see like, okay, what is the tariff rate going to be on Canada then? And then we'll kind of wait and see. So not a lot of actual opinion yet on what this means, but to me it just reactivates Actually, I mean, I can't see any much of another opinion here, so I'll just give you my own. Let's just write this out together and let's think this through logically together. So number one, what this does is it creates a delayed a delay in the incentive to negotiate trade for other countries. Okay, so we have to figure this out ourselves. And that way other people can copy me. Yes, pouting back. See what I just did there? Trying to promote the 69 IQ. Maybe today will be a 70 IQ day. So creates a delay in the incentive to negotiate for other countries, right? Because you just wait and see, right? So wait and see what happens with Canada assignment. Okay, Trump basically just gave a time frame of 7 days. So 7-day clock starts now. That would end July 4th, actually. Ah, a noble day. 7 days would be July 4th. So there's obviously the next week will now be very much in flux, potentially sideways to down in markets as we get clarity on tariffs, which this will be the first assignment, right? This will be the first assigned tariffs. So now the question is, are we going to have 10% tariffs? 10% baseline is where we've been. Is it going to be 15%, 20%, 30%? If the higher it is, the more markets see it as a Lib Day 2.0, right? Because if you come out with a big, cardboard again and you're like, oh, we're going to do 40% tariffs with some made up math again, people freak and basically all of the hope debt that we've created starts coming due. So we've been running on hope debt. So hope debt is kind of a little term that I've been coining lately. And what hope debt is hope on tariffs with deficit nations. Hopefully this ends up going away and not being a problem. But again, it's hope. And hope is not the most convincing strategy. So hope that tariffs go away. Hope that Iran signs a peace deal. Actually signing a peace deal would be great. Hope that Ukraine war ends. Hope that AI earnings keep going. Hope that the Fed cuts before labor market issues, and hope that tariffs don't compress earnings / labor / the consumer, right? Generally, this hope is acceptable because betting against America is really hard. Don't do it, right? But it does create enough uncertainty to say, crap, are we going to go through this environment again? Then, though, we look and say, last Lib Day was clearly a buying opportunity as it, resulted in a massive short squeeze, institutions offsides, and really reiterated a V-shaped recovery because we haven't really damaged the economy yet. Unfortunately, now we come back to this Canada issue now bringing up all of this hope debt again that we now have to potentially deal with. So it's not great. So where do we go from here? Okay. What's happened in the past. So scenarios going forward. Going forward, best case scenario number one. One would be Canada withdraws digital service tax. I actually like to call it the DS tax, also known as the dumb SH9T tax. Okay, Canada, best case scenario number one, Canada withdraws digital service tax. Okay, that would be great. Best case scenario two, Canada doesn't, gets assigned a low tariff rate like 12% except USMCA compliant. This is weak sauce tariff and market should rally on that because it's just not that big of a deal. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have larger issues, right? Worst case one, scenario one, Canada preemptively retaliates more, and plus Trump retaliates again. Worst case scenario two, other countries also throw up their hands, and we're back to no deals, right? That would be bad. So in these various different cases, I would say this right here would be mark it up. This right here would be mark it up. This right here would be market sideways, more concern. And then obviously right here, this is market down. My POV on sort of like quick reaction. So if you want sort of like quick live reaction from Kevin on you know, what's going on here, that's my take. Somebody says, or Trump annexes Canada. I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, look, CNN's talking about it now.
Immediately. CNN's Kristen Holmes is live for us at the White House. Kristen, do we have a sense of what led up to this? Did the president say anything else?
Ooh, talk to me, Kristen.
It appears this is all about a digital tax. And just to give you a little bit of context, we saw President Trump with the Prime Minister Carney in Canada just a week and a half ago, and they seem to be getting along very well. They said that the trade negotiations were moving forward successfully, but obviously they have hit a kind of divide in the road here, and President Trump saying that no longer will they participate in any trade talks with Canada. So he posted this on Truth Social moments ago. He said, "We have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced they are putting a digital services tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter." You remember, Brianna, we've talked about this a number of times. Canada is one of the United States' biggest trading partners. That's actually why you saw Carney when he was here meeting with President Trump. You can see them. That was their meeting in the Oval Office there. That's why he was getting frustrated with the president, because he said that the president kept kind of diminishing Canada, saying, you know, we don't need to trade with you. And he was saying, well, actually, we're one
This is true. This is the #2 top trading company, although this is from the Census Bureau a few years ago. Let me get a more recent date.
Tax. It does appear as though it was going to be set into effect in 3 days on June 30th. And the big part of this is that it also includes...
There we go. Yeah. #3, because Mexico took over. So Mexico 16%, then China 14%, Canada 13%, Germany 5%.
About 3 days, American companies to pay on this digital tax. Now, this is something President Trump has complained about at length when it comes to the United Kingdom as well as the European Union. You see it there. He talked a little bit about this when he made the deal with the United Kingdom. However, it does appear the United Kingdom is still taxing the U.S. for that digital tax, but the United States believes it got other things out of that negotiation. Here, President Trump had expressed, and his administration had expressed to Canadian leaders that they were against them adopting this digital tax. Obviously, they did so anyway, and now you see President Trump is severing all trade talks with them.
Yeah, you can see Doomberg's POV here. Canada is proceeding with its digital services tax on the technology companies such as Meta, despite a Group of 7 agreement that resulted in removing the revenge tax proposal from Trump's tax bill. Oh, he might try to put it back in the bill then. First payment for digital tax is still due Monday. 3% tax of the digital services revenue a firm makes from Canadian users above $14 million. So basically, it's a 3% tax above $14 million of income that would apply to these larger technology companies. Aha, yeah, and here it is. Digital services tax. Trump's gonna be pissed. This sort of like reactivates the trade negotiations, or at least trade topics, which again is a problem because we never really completed trade negotiations. We just punted them, which is not great. Unfortunately, as a result of this, the 10-year Treasury just spiked a bit. Of course it did. It always does. Yeah, you could see since the announcement here, you've gone from 4.24 to about almost 7 now, about 3 basis point move here. And the 10-2 spread just popped up to 54, more in shock territory. So not fantastic, but it gives us an idea of what's going on, why it's going on, and just sort of another wake-up call to you going to meetkevin.com and getting your all-access bundle. Every trade alert, we got a challenge coming up in July, so you'll get all the trade alerts on the challenge in July, all 8 courses, every private live stream, the alpha report. Check it out at meetkevin.com. Look at the beautiful website. Nobody knows beautiful website better than Meet Kevin. You got the Trumponomics course, which that's getting huge new lectures when the big, beautiful bill passes. The wealth plan library. You actually get recordings from when I did financial advice for folks. You know, how to make money and get SH9T done faster, YouTube videos, property management, real estate sales. You get a lot. It's a pretty good deal. Use coupon code JPAL.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.